Today's guest hasn't ridden a surfboard with fins in a decade. And that might seem like a fringe style of surfing. It is certainly today, but it has roots in the earliest versions of surfing. Wherever surfing began, by the late 1800s, Hawaiians had developed three distinct styles of boards, all carved from wood: pipos, alayas, and olos, and all of these were finless. Pipos are similar to what we think of as a bodyboard. Alayas were longer and they were meant to be stood on, but both were only about half an inch thick. And then olos, on the other hand, were the showpiece of ancient Hawaiian surfing. They were ridden exclusively by the ruling Ali'i class, and they often weighed up to 200 pounds. They were 20 feet long, they were 2 feet wide, and up to 8 inches thick. By the mid 1920s, America's first surfing champion, Tom Blake, visited Hawaii, and he restored two weather-beaten olos that were hanging on the exterior wall at the Honolulu Bishop Museum. A couple years later, he and Duke Kahanamoku actually made a pair of 16-foot replicas. Then in 1932, back in Venice, California, Blake became one of the first commercial board builders, and he released a line of Tom Blake Hawaiian paddleboards. And then just a couple of years later, in 1935, he was living in Hawaii, and this is where he attached a 4-inch deep by 1 foot long keel scavenged from an old speedboat to the tail of his surfboard. This is thought to be the inception point for the surfboard fin, and that fin allowed Blake to ride at a tighter angle across the wave, but it also created increased drag through the water. So from this moment forward, nearly every element of surfboard design reflected this precise push and pull for balance between speed and maneuverability. From fins to rocker to outline to the length of the surfboard to the deck and the bottom contours, each of these choices are made in the interest of increasing maneuverability while still trying to maintain as much speed as possible. Which, in fact, brings us to today's guest. He's going to share lessons that he's learned from Derek Hynd and the adjustments that he's making in his own designs and his laminations to kind of find this perfect balance between going as fast as you would on a flat board while still being able to maneuver it. But before we get into that, let's just do a quick word from our sponsors who make Surf Splendor possible, all of whom are doing holiday sales right now, so you could jump in on this. Real Water Sports has up to 80% off surfboards and surf gear. You could probably get all of your gifting done here in one spot because it's not just surfboards. They have clothing, accessories, coolers, all sorts of stuff, hundreds of dollars off those surfboards as well. So peruse it all at realwatersports.com. Then Veyer Watches is doing up to 30% off. These are high quality watches built from surgical grade steel with premium movements, sapphire crystals, guaranteed waterproof, and American assembled. Get yours at VeyerWatches.com/surfsplendor. And then the Surfrider Foundation, because of course the ocean needs more friends, but their merch shop is also doing up to 30% off right now. I wear these clothes all the time, weekly certainly. I've got the sweater on right now. They're fantastic quality. The fabrics and the fits are great. And in recent years, they've revamped all their designs. They kind of refresh them constantly. So it's probably new compared to what you've seen in the past, but they make great gifts and they support an incredible cause. So go to surfrider.org to become a member and then add some merch to save 30% on your holiday shopping. Enjoy all of that stuff. And without further ado, of course, my name is David Scales for Surf Splendor, and I really hope that you enjoy my conversation with a surfer that I have admired for years from afar, and I'm glad to get to know him here. So enjoy my chat with Jordan Rodin. Surf Splendor. First question for you is, when was the last time you surfed with fins?
Well, this year was actually 10 years since I did it. So in all up in 10 years, maybe 2 months of those 10 years was on fins. But the last time was probably 2022 on a men's trip. It was actually my Bucks party. And I just slipped one in there anyway, just in case it got kind of too gnarly, which never did. But the boys gave me a costume, and I thought I'd go chuck the fins back on. So that was that was my last time on fins.
Amazing. I didn't really. So you say when it's been 10 years, you started friction
Yeah,
free 10 years ago?
yeah, July 2015. Yeah,
Okay.
10 years ago.
Um, for the sake of this conversation, are we calling it friction free or finless? Or is there another term?
I don't mind. I know Derek likes friction free or just not finless, but I really don't really get into that anymore. I'm just yeah, it is what it is. There's no fins on the board. Yeah, it's finless.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Um, well, before we get to the 10-year ago mark, um, where did you grow up?
So I'm an hour north of Perth in a little suburb called Quinns Rocks. Um, it was like an old fishing town, but obviously the suburbs are caught up to it now, so it's just a part of the Northern Rivers, I guess. Um, and yeah, there's not too many waves. There's a couple out front, but um, you kind of got to travel to get waves around here.
So you grew up there and you still live there?
Yeah, yeah. I grew up maybe 10 minutes up the road, and yeah, I bought a house. So I'm still locked into where I grew up.
Amazing. Are your parents
Yeah,
still
good.
around?
Yeah, yeah. They're half an hour drive away, so easy for the grandkid drop off, and yeah, it's good.
That's ideal. Yeah. Um, when you discovered surfing, what did you grow up riding?
I think I was on a soft top for like maybe the first 10, no, sorry, 2 years or something. Just normal kind of upbringing. None of my dad or none of my family were really into surfing, so it was kind of only because my sister's boyfriend at the time was a surfer, and I thought he was the coolest kid in school. So I think I tagged along with the first time, and he let me go on his board, and yeah, I just ran back to mum and asked surfboard for from Santa. So and I got it.
What'd she get you?
It was just like I think it was like a not a cool eye. It was just a normal soft top,
Okay.
3 fins, and yeah, I hang on that for 2 years and slowly progressed into a fiberglass.
What type of fiberglass? Was it a shortboard?
It was actually a Greg Weber X Taj Burrow that
No
my
way.
yeah my dad got off. It's called Gumtree, like a local trading kind of newspaper thing, and I kind of just flipped and I looked at the dimension. I was like, Dad, do you know this is Taj Burrow's board? He's like, he didn't know. He's like, yeah, I knew that. But it was a real like bananery, early 90s kind of surfboard, which is not really what you want, but hey, I was stoked.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so lead me through it all the way up to the discovering fin-free surfing. And how did you discover that?
Um, yeah, I guess I kind of stuck with doing the local board riders and having fun with that. Maybe up until 2013, so 2 years before I found Finless. Um, yeah, I was just kind of in doing like the local comps, kind of having fun with that. Um, Secretly and slowly, I was kind of getting like a bit bored of it, just
Hmm.
because the waves are really like junky and it's just the same thing, um, trying to do an air, and that's basically it. Which ended up actually, I busted my knee from doing an air, and I got the clear to go back surfing. I was like, oh, I'll take my old single fin down to the beach one afternoon. And I actually forgot my fin, the single skeg, and there was only about half an hour of light left. And I was like, bugger it, I'm going to go out. So I went out there, no fin, um, ate shit for like 10, 20 minutes, maybe 5 or 10 minutes left. And I actually caught edge on one and I kind of went to the beach. And I was like, whoa, like that was kind of cool. I never had that much speed and there's a little drift in there. And I was kind of like buzzing off it. And I actually didn't know at the time who Derek Hynd was or even this thing was a thing. And I was like, oh, we're going to keep trying this. Maybe I'll find something new. And then I was talking to a buddy at the surf. He's like, oh, you should probably Google this guy called Derek Hynd. And then I did, and I was like, Phew. he's he's mastered it. So it was kind of a humbling experience. I'm 10 years in, I'm still not satisfied where I'm at, kind of thing. So um, yeah, don't be too bummed out.
Yeah.
It's definitely, yeah, it's you got to keep at it, man. Like the amount of ways I've probably blown, if I, if I had fins on, it'd be different. But yeah, you just got to keep at it and yeah, not take it too serious.
So what was the next step of exploration then? Did you continue to ride the single fin just without a fin, or did you seek out a specific type of board?
I did. I actually I got in contact with Derek um maybe 6 months in, and I ordered a board off him. And
So did you just hit him up on Facebook or something?
yeah, yeah, it was that easy. Yeah, I hit him up and kind of told him what I was about, where I live. Obviously, there was a few criterias because I don't think he just gives a board to anyone or shapes a board for anyone. So obviously, I wasn't in a really heavily crowded zone. Not many people are going to see his board, whatnot. And yeah, he kind of gave me the green light, and he said, "Be in J-Bay at this time, and I'll give you the board." Yeah, I booked a flight, and that was it.
No way.
Yeah.
What, I mean, was he living in J-Bay full time?
At that point, yeah, he was. I think he was doing the whole season. So I guess 6 months on, and then 6 months in Byron. But yeah, I went to his house, and I stayed with him for just under 3 weeks. So yeah, I got the full experience.
That's unreal. Tell me about that trip. Was it your first time to J-Bay?
Yeah, first time to J Bay. It was actually, I think, 2 weeks before the J Bay Pro, the year that Mick Fanning came back from the Shark Attack and won. So yeah, it was cool. Like the free surfs were fun. Wasn't too crowded, and yeah, I was just staying with Derek, and it was quite funny. He gave me he was like, "Oh, I'll take you on a tour to see the other waves." So we rented a car and we went up to Bruce's Beauty, Seal Point, and on the way back, he saw some hitchhikers. There was three of them. Um, he stopped the car. He goes, "All right, Junior, get out." You jump in the boot, and he picked up these three hitchhikers. And I had to sit in the boot for maybe an hour and a half. And this is a tiny rental car, mind you. And I was just squished up in this car, and he was just giggling, and he just gave me the full crumb abuse. But he meant well because he gave three lovely lady hitchhikers the lift home from work.
I was going to ask what gender they were.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was kind of like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, I do this all the time." I was like, "All right."
Was there, could you put the back seats down so you had fresh airflow, or were you actually
Nah, I
confined?
was like suitcase crammed for like an hour and a half.
Dude, I think
Um,
people die that way. I think you can like get
oh,
exhaust fumes and kill you.
yeah, literally, yeah. He was every now and then like, "You doing all right?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, sort of."
That is brutal.
But I've heard a lot of stories. He's done that to a lot of, back in his the search days, and he does that kind of grom abuse. So, yeah, no, I didn't expect anything less.
How old were you?
Um, what was I? I was 21.
It's a little old for Grom abuse.
Yeah, I guess that is a bit off.
You're a full-grown adult.
I know. That's
So,
crazy.
so what was the board? Tell me about the board that he built you.
It was a 6'6", I guess a rounded pin, pretty straight rails, low entry rocker, and his channels and all the science in the bottom was pretty spaced out. But yeah, it definitely worked. It actually still got it. It's still in one piece, so
Amazing.
I'll keep that one locked away.
Let me ask you, you said the science in the
Hmm.
bottom. I don't want to be disparaging of Derek at all, but I wonder how much of it is science and how much of it is just whimsy, because like
Yeah.
I've checked out his boards at times and it's like there's so much going on and there's so much
Mm.
difference from one to the other that I don't necessarily see the through line, it feels like he's just playing jazz.
Yeah.
And he's so good at it that it's like, it all works for him. But um, what are your thoughts? Like, how much intention is there, or is there something that he's trying to execute?
Um, there is a lot going on. As far as the edge, which is real sharp, which he kind of points to like a snowboard edge or something, that definitely works. So as far as the channels, I guess it gives more direction and hold. And then there's like a real towards the back of the end of the board, there's a real like deep concave pan, which I think it gives it two things. In the drift, it will lift up the tail, will like creates an air pocket, will lift up the tail so you don't catch edge, like you don't bite the edge. And then obviously um, it just pushes out the water a lot better. It doesn't get stuck in the back. So hey, it works. And yeah, I guess you have to ask him about that one.
Was it asymmetrical?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, how many channels? And I mean, how many edges? Is that an appropriate question?
There's two either side, so toe and heel, and there's like a resin edge,
Yeah.
um, 3/4 up the board, just for more
Okay.
bite.
So it almost I mean, it's almost feels like a fin almost.
Yeah, to some degree. And also when you're going backwards, you have the backwards edge, so you can kind of trim going backwards. So
Yeah.
you like switch to goofy kind of thing.
Right. So what was your experience on that board at J Bay? Was it drastically different than the boards that you have been riding at home?
Yeah, so much different. Even like when you're paddling in, even when you're paddling with an board with no fins, it kind of wants to
Yeah.
wiggle and snake behind you. Um, that one, it just felt rock solid. You could just glide in, paddle in, and because the hardest bit about the whole experience is the takeoff. Once you've done the takeoff, you can kind of set up the whole wave. That's the bit that you'll get stuck on, and ultimately just be over it because you're like, oh, it's too hard. But if you can get the drop ins, it's kind of all good from there. But yeah, it was a lot different. It held line. It I could kind of do what I kind of wanted to do, and yeah, it was definitely worth the trip.
What are the limitations? What was the appeal to the board and that style of surfing? What are the limitations of it? And then, are there, especially in those early days, were there moments where you were thinking, I should just be riding a board with fins this day?
Um, the limitations early days, shit, I probably didn't get barreled for like 5 years, and that's like everything. So that was definitely a trade-off. Um, kind of going insane for 5 years. I've only just kind of like got into that pocket or that barrel zone in the last 3 years. So I'm kind of making up for lost time now. Um, and obviously, you're not really doing airs and that, but um, I, I don't really care for that anymore. Um, and yeah, early days, there definitely was times where, you surf with your mates and they're getting barreled or they're doing airs and you kind of like, cooking it on the drop. And it's like, oh, next one, trust me, I'll try to do it. But in saying that, around here the waves are shitty, so it's fun just to muck around. And I'm surfing new waves because some of the waves are like too shallow. They're not hollow, too shallow, but they're kind of just breaking over just ugly bits of reef, and there's no one out there. So that's one thing that opened my eyes up more is surfing waves with less people because of the quality of the wave, and it was just too shallow.
Gotcha. What's the, why did it take so long to figure out how to get barreled? What's the design element going on that prevents you from knifing in?
Um, I think just body positioning, hey, like. it the most subtle movement will do the most extreme things. You know, it is like kind of like a seesaw act. It's like a pendulum. I'm just learning, certain arm moves or gestures. The arm lift will kind of lift your actual whole body up, not just like you're thrusting or pumping with fins. Um, and off the bottom, I kind of flip my arms up like a bird, which will lift the whole body up, and I can do a spin up the top instead of mid face. So yeah, I think just body positioning and just the confidence. I'm gonna make this a knife it, and obviously quality waves help. Um, but yeah, I guess the lack of quality and the awareness of the body positioning.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks to me like your stance has adjusted a lot over time.
Yeah, 100%. Um, it's kind of like, you're sitting in a comfy chair, you slowly get into, the slouch and, at start I was a bit stiff and upright and, my knees weren't completely pretzeled. And now I've kind of real low to the board and knocking my knee in a bit more, which will give more weight on the toe edge, which is more bite. Um, so yeah, it comes down to body positioning and just learning, sitting more comfortably on the board, because it is quite an awkward position at the start. Um, you really got to loosen up those knees. It probably takes you a good 2 years to, get those ligaments really, um, yeah, stretched out.
Well, even the placement of your feet
Yeah,
feel like they're almost on the rails now, and they're obviously not parallel exactly.
yeah,
Like your left foot is further forward than your right foot, but they're more spread out than I think. I don't know if it's your surfing that I'm thinking about back in the day, but I just remember the stance looking more like a traditional surf stance, where it was closer to the stringer line, maybe, and certainly more parallel than it was like a surf stance, but at least closer to the stringer line. I feel like maybe you've gotten spread out over time.
yeah. I think I have.
Yeah.
Good observation. Yeah, I think I've my left foot is almost on the opposite rail. Um, so that's kind of like a seesaw act. If you push down, it will bite with the bottom turn, then push the opposite way, then you got your carve going. So yeah, you're working both rails, and it's a lot to do in a small space of time, especially when it's a small wave. It's a bit going on. It's not just spin, spin, spin. Um, I try to I try to stick away to that. I try to do like more traditional lines. That's the satisfied I get.
Hmm. Regarding your knees that you were talking about,
Hmm.
was it hard on your knees initially?
Well, yeah, the first time when I came back, post knee, not knee surgery, knee injury, it was a little bit hard on the knees for sure. There was a few ice baths going around to get the inflammation down, but I think they've just copped a beating and they're kind of just used to it. Like
Hmm.
there's no worries at all. It's actually quite funny. There's a lot of people message me like, "Oh, I'm worried about your knees and all this kind of stuff." I'm like, "Oh, don't worry about it, man. Like, I can always get a replacement later on."
Were you always flexible? Or do you do anything to maintain flexibility?
Well, I think I'm double jointed. I'm not quite sure, but
Okay.
I actually had when I was born, I had club foot, which is like talipes, where your feet are rolled in like that, and so through the recovery of that, when I was a baby, I had my feet in cast for about 6 months to straighten them out. And I think that it stretched all my ligaments so much. I have so much flex in my hamstring to my calves to my knee. So I've always adopted that real easy squat as a kid
Okay.
through that. through that massaging and stretching to get my feet straight again. Which you might see that when I'm surfing, my foot's almost rolled in. You can almost see the bottom of my foot sometimes, and that's just through having club feet as a baby.
That makes a lot of sense. Because
Yeah.
I don't know that this is for everyone.
Oh, yeah. Like I got mates that, yeah, they just kind of squat that low, or yeah, they're just it's too hard.
Yeah, I mean, even on land, I would have a hard time staying in that position for an extended period of time.
Yeah, it's funny. Even when you go to like Bali, Indonesia, they really that's how they squat. That's how they sit, like, just on the street. I'm like, oh, you should you should give this finless a go. You're doing it on land all day long.
They'd be incredible at it.
Exactly, incredible.
Um, so especially during those early days, were there times where you were getting back on a Fend surfboard, and why in those moments?
Um, I'm 100% positive I did 8 years straight. The last 2 years was when I was going on that mentalities trip, and I just thought, um, I should probably try surf again. And you know what? It was actually really a humbling experience. I forgot a lot of things, like even just the pop up. I would still pop up finless stance, and I was like, oh, this isn't going to work. So it was actually quite humbling again. It was like I was learning to surf again. So I've learned to surf twice now in my adult years.
Amazing.
I think I was just on like just a personal trip. It was like when you're surfing and you're like, oh, like you learn to do a float or you learn to do a snap or whatever. It was just like that same experience as when you're 10 or 12 years old when you just went surfing. Like, I did this, or, like slowly ticking off boxes. And I didn't want the challenge to beat me. It took me 5 years, and I finally got a barrel. So yeah, I guess it was just the thrill and the excitement of something different.
Hmm.
Yeah, 8 years was probably a bit extensive, but um, I stayed true through the whole process.
Uh, Along the way, did you identify or learn of anybody else who's doing it other than you and Derek? And is there a secret network of friction-free surfers? Do you guys get together?
Like a WhatsApp or something. No, there's not. Um, it was actually because over in WA, there's no one doing it, so I
Okay.
thought it was kind of a low key thing. And then I went to visit Derek in Byron, and we went down to the pass, and there was like freaking 20 people doing it. I was just like, no way, like you're joking. Um, so yeah, there's heaps of people doing it. There's a couple in Morocco. There's definitely a lot in Oz. But no, there is no secret network. It's kind of just your own personal weird thing.
Do you have people reaching out to you asking for advice?
Yeah. Um, yeah, pretty often actually. I always try to get back to them. If that's design theories, or body positioning, and asking to buy a board and all that. Yeah, I definitely get asked a few questions, and I always try my best to respond.
It seems like in the videos I've seen of you that the people in the lineup don't know where to paddle. They see you coming.
100%.
Maybe they don't anticipate the speed, but you'll
Yeah,
also throw like a crazy spin at an unexpected moment. And I could see them looking frantic. Is that true?
100%. Those are the thrills I love the most, when you're that on edge. And I don't intend to hit people, but when you're ripping around, and you're yeah, you can see their face like, I don't know which way to go. Just paddle to the white water. That's the best
Always,
option.
right? Like that's
Yeah,
always
I
the
don't know
goal.
why people paddle the face. But yeah, it's definitely a thrill when you're people that shit in their pants.
It's hilarious. You could see it on video.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me about kind of ideal board characteristics other than just having no fins.
I think straight rails are the best. Anything too curved out, it won't work as well. It will work, but it won't work as well. The straighter the line, the more rail in the water, which is ultimately your fin, which is your bite. Um, Low entry rocker, not too chunky. You want them kind of thinned out, just because the whole knife factor. Um, and yeah, ASIM generally works best because your bottom turn to your carb's a bit different. So yeah, I think ASIM's the best. And yeah, just straight rails really. That's the most important thing I think.
So with the ASIM is the longer rail on your toe side.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then um, what's your ideal bottom contours?
Um, just slight V in the nose and then pretty well flat until behind your back foot, which is almost halfway up the board. Single to double concave at the bottom. And then obviously your channels are they're pretty deep. All my channels are anyway. They're what's that, about 1 to 2 centimeters deep, maybe a bit more. Um, and yeah, that kind of works best for me. But it's all
Okay.
trial and error. I'm shaping a few boards at the moment. I just went down to the local rubbish tip and picked up some sailboards, and I stripped the glass back and started mowing some fresh foam again. So it was good.
So let's talk about that a little bit. What's your philosophy on buying new boards? Do you buy new boards?
Well, I don't anymore because Derek doesn't make his boards anymore. And then that was kind of like a blessing in disguise. It got me thinking about design because I'm not leaning on someone to make the board for me anymore. So that's when I went down to another rabbit hole, which kept me more intrigued, and I stick with it more, because now my brain's kind of ticking about design. Um, and yeah, new boards are fine as long as you don't buy it and then sell it the next 6 months. You might as well hold on to them. It's not good just to throw stuff away.
Have you ever bought blanks and started from scratch, or are they all strip downs?
Um, I've only bought one blank, like a new blank. The first blank I got was a at my local surfboard factory. There was a couple ex windsurfer blanks that were just left out in the car park. They were just brown as anything. And I asked the owner, like, "What are you doing with that?" And he's like, "Nothing." I was like, "Oh, can I have it?" Yeah, no worries. And the thing was thick. Like it took me ages to plane it down. It was so thick. But after a couple lines out, it was just pearly white.
Hmm.
So it kind of made it all worthwhile. But yeah, it's either going to the rubbish tip, finding old blanks or old boards, stripping them down, or going on a marketplace and finding just secondhand boards and just stripping the back of the board and placing the rails and contours and channels in.
Um, Tell me your philosophy behind that, or where did anybody could do it? You know what I mean? Anybody could approach board building that way of
Yeah,
finding secondhand stuff and upcycling it. Why
exactly.
you? Why did you come up with that way?
Um, I think I've always been a bit of an upcycler. My dad's big on that, so that was kind of always ingrained with me from a young age. One man's loss is another man's treasure. So he was big on that, and then just hanging out with Derek and the late Dale Egan, he was big on recycling, upcycling. Um, just just a few just a few people kind of got me interested in it, but it's yeah, it's definitely out there, and there's free foam out there if you want to look for it.
Absolutely. So How did you learn how to use the tools and how'd you learn the techniques?
Um, when I was young, I was always hanging around my local you know, the surfboard factory, just being, just a bit of a pest in the bay, like, eyeballs real close watching. That wasn't so bad. It was more like the finishing techniques took time, and especially the glassing, because I glass all my boards with all the channels and the crazy curves and depths, just in my shed. So, it's not ideal conditions. It gets pretty hot in there. It was definitely quick learning. But yeah, just watching over years, and you know, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube too.
Yeah. Um, I don't know if you're still using it, but I saw one of your videos you were stripping the board on a shopping cart. It was like you were using the shopping cart as
Yeah,
as the shaping racks.
it's so good. You can just move it in the shade because I'm obviously doing in the backyard. So I just follow the shade with the shopping trolley.
It's perfect. I was like, that is genius. But did you have
Yeah.
to steal that from the supermarket?
Well, it was actually quite funny. There was a local crackhead that used to live up the road, and he would always bring a shopping trolley home with him after his, grocery shop. And I'd shit you not, there was about 20 shopping trolleys in his front yard. And I was like, I'm going to take one of these because that was my idea. And you can put your tools in, the trolley, and you can just your racks there. And hey, it's not for everyone, but it's upcycling.
He probably didn't even notice it was missing.
No, he's like, oh, there's 19 there today.
He wasn't keeping track.
No.
I've learned that about crackheads. They're not good at keeping track. They're not good accountants.
Well, he's not there anymore, so I don't know who got the 19 of them, but maybe the local shop was stoked to see him again.
Yeah, that's so funny. Um, it looks like you're when you're stripping the lamination off the old boards, like you're just doing it on the back half, maybe. Is that true?
About 50-50. The ones I get off marketplace that are not bad condition, I'll only rip the bottom off because there's no point ripping the top off. There's just more fiberglass I got to use again.
Right.
Um, but as far as the sailboards, yeah, I got to do both because the rocker's not right. It's too banana-y.
Mm,
So I got to strip both sides and plane the rocker I need. Um, but yeah, I try not waste too much. But if it has to come off, it has to come off.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not directly standing over the area that I'm actually stripping. And I'm doing it with double 6 ounce, so it's pretty beefed up.
Gotcha.
Because my theory is weight creates momentum, momentum is speed. So my boards are really heavy. Both top and bottom is double six. So it's a lot of weight, but I'm slowly leaning towards more of the flex. Because obviously when it's so stiff and rigid, there's not much flex, but you're getting the speed. So yeah, I'm in the midst of kind of trial and erroring less glass and a bit more flex pattern.
When you say people have reached out to you asking for boards,
Mm.
I mean, this is like an actual board order. And are you using stripped down versions for those?
Um, I mean, it's a pretty loose question. They're kind of just like, oh, have you got any like old boards to sell? But a lot of the time they're like, not even in the same country. It's like, oh, I mean, I can get a quote for you for shipping, but this board's pretty beaten up. Like you know, um, I'd rather just talk to the steps if you can do it, and then you can have that buzz, and that
Yeah.
feeling, instead of shipping it across the country and God knows how it's going to rock up to.
Yeah, great point.
Mm.
Um, who is Billy Cervi?
Uh, he's my mate, a filmer, photog, school buddy. Yeah, we've known each other for a long time now. He just lives up the road, and he's always down for an adventure and to shoot.
He's he does incredible work.
Yeah, he's super talented. Yeah, he's definitely a trade of the craft.
It makes me wonder how many guys like you exist around the world who just don't have that partnership to showcase it with everybody.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's there's probably two people that like help me the most. It would be him and Jamie Brisick. Um, yeah, those two guys have really helped just with everything. Motivation, filming, getting me out there, and yeah, I couldn't thank them enough.
What's your relationship with Brisick and how has he helped you?
I think that was interest because he's really good mates with Derek Hynd. Maybe he was like, who's this new guy that Derek's making boards for? He's just helped me with a few things. He wrote an article on me in the Surfers Journal, which was crazy. I've never thought I was ever going to be in that magazine. It's such a privilege and an honor. Um, and yeah, just the little things. You know, tips of traveling and around the world where he's been and people he knows, and just contacts. And um, he's a good mentor.
Yeah. Well, um, in regard to Billy and you guys kind of him helping grow your profile, having 18,000 Instagram followers, has there any opportunities that have come from that?
Sadly, no. I think you need 50 or 60. No, it's no, not really. But hey, I'm still doing it and it's good fun. I didn't expect anything out of it. I'm just happy to respond to people that are stoked on my surfing, if that's, talk boards or you know, meeting new people down the beach that, oh, I saw this or saw that of you and thanks mate, that's cool. So yeah, that's all that I've got from it.
Do you have any sponsors?
Uh I get some free wetsuits from Japan from a company called Fit Systems, but that's about it. So, but that's all I really need is, stay warm. I'm making my own boards.
You know what's funny about that Fit Systems logo is it looks like
Yeah,
Derek Hynd's far field. It's the FFF, right? Or the four Fs.
yeah. Because Derek got those wetsuits, or he kind of got me in the contact with them, and yeah, he made that specifically the four Fs on the back.
Okay.
But yeah, their logo is just the single F, but yeah, they put the four on there to you know, make that collaboration.
Gotcha. Okay. I knew that couldn't just be coincidental.
Yeah, I know. It's too funny. It's too much. I've just dropped
So,
down to the one F now.
oh, okay. Well, just to clarify for listeners who maybe thought that you were a professional surfer and earning a living off of surfing, what do you do for work?
So I own a small concrete company with my dad. So we'll do foundations, slabs, floors, mostly tilt up panels for factories. Do you guys have them over there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do that on site and do start from finish from the footings, slab, walls, car park, and then handover. So busy, busy.
What does your work life consist of? Or is it like Monday through Friday, 8 to 5
Um,
or?
I wish it was 8 to 5. No, I wake up at 3:34, on site by 6:30, and the concrete's the boss. It will tell you when it's done. So every day varies from winter, obviously doesn't go off, so you're there for longer. Summer, you might jag 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock finish.
Okay.
So it's every day is different. It's not, you're working with a natural product. So every day is different.
Yeah. And
Mm.
do you have a full crew? How many employees are you managing?
No, I've kind of learnt a smaller crew's better. So it's just three of us. It's just me, my dad, and another worker. It's just I don't know about over in where you are, but it's hard to find workers or good workers nowadays. No one wants to work hard anymore. I don't know why that is, but yeah, I found that less people's best.
Well, back to surfing. Whose surfing do you admire?
Um, I've actually been watching Dan Gadauskas pretty closely. I kind of he's a cool cat. He seems pretty cool. Just his style and just his approach. Obviously Derek Hynd, just of what he's done, and actually having a personal relationship with him is cool. Um, and just like the everyday battle that you see out in the surf, it's just they're not there for the thrills and the spills. They're just there to have a good time and just hang out because they only get one day a week to surf. That's kind of I kind of put myself in that category too. Working and only getting a minimal time to go surfing. It's cool just to decompress in that kind of way.
I'm glad to hear you say Dane because I agree. His trajectory has been very interesting to watch. And when I was young and those guys were kind of I don't know, at the top of their profiles, he was my least favorite of those three brothers. Like Pat and Tanner, I thought were far more interesting, but
Yeah,
over the years, Dane has become my favorite out of all of them. And he seems to be super open-minded in writing. I mean, the stuff that he gets from Donald Brink, there's like a
yeah,
14-foot Olo, which I think is finless, and
yeah,
but it was like 14 inches wide, like super narrow, and it was just an experiment. No, it was an experimental thing for Donald. I mean, it was based in a certain, tradition, but he needed somebody to write it, and Dane's up for writing stuff like that, or a little tiny 4-foot bar of soap type thing, and everything in between.
yeah. He's amazing. Like, from like I'm guessing 1 foot T Street or trestles to 20 foot cloud break and
Yeah.
everything in between. Yeah, he's kind of like he's crushed it. It's cool to see.
Well, the other detail is his approach. Those fundamentals translate, like his body positioning and the way that he approaches surfing, they translate to all crafts and all waves, which I think is something to really kind of like model my own surfing after.
Yeah, I reckon he would surf so sick on finless because some of those like high lines and just the body positioning, it's like it's all there kind of thing. He's like, yeah, he's doing it all in one. It's it's super rad. Um, and just his like happy go attitude from looking from afar, it
Yeah.
looks like that's actually him and that's actually organic.
Yeah. I actually, reviewing some of your Instagram clips kind of in preparation for this chat, I had that thought too of like a lot of what you're doing, I think translates to finned surfing as well. The way, like the thing you were talking about earlier about like the elevating the arms
Yeah,
and how that your body responds to that and your board then responds to that. I'm like, I've never even considered, you can see it clear as day in the videos, but I've never even considered that kind of emotion when I'm surfing on a finned surfboard. But I actually think I have seen it from John Florence or from like top level surfers.
yeah. I kind of was really fascinated with sculptures and the body poses and seeing what that the mechanisms work like that, and that kind of got me into that pathway of trying new body positions like that, and also August Rodin with the last name of mine. I was kind of fascinated with his work, and that kind of got me into looking at the sculptures and um, the poses and the way the body can work in that kind of way. Yeah, it's fascinating. the littlest movement can do so much when you're surfing. It's cool.
If your fundamentals are secure, like if your fundamentals are correct, then I think the littlest movement translates.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And even so more when you're finless, because such a small movement can do such big things.
Yeah. Um, if you could get a surfboard from anybody on the planet, what would you get?
That's a good question. Far out. So many good shapers nowadays. Jeez. Um, maybe I was actually just watching for the fifth time Rasta's electric acid test. Some of the boards now are pretty trippy. I did like the look of the Ryan Lovelace twin he made. That was kind of cool. Um, I'm just trying to think. Jeez, I don't know.
Have you, I mean, that he
Actually,
does obviously.
maybe Morris Cole. That'd be pretty cool. Like those big current um, double V kind of things. They're pretty sick.
Yeah. Well, Ryan Lovelace, I mean, he obviously has experimented with finless boards. He has that rabbit's foot that
Yeah,
Ari Brown rides incredibly well.
yeah, 100%.
Have you
Yeah.
experimented with anybody else's finless boards?
Yeah, actually, yeah, Ryan, he gave me one, or maybe 2, 3 years ago, maybe even more actually. Yeah, he gave me a rabbit's foot to try out. It was insane. It was a little bit too small for me. It was only like 5'5". Um, maybe a 5'8", 5'9" probably would have worked better. But the flex pattern on the epoxy was crazy. Um, if it would have been a 5'9", it probably would have been like probably one of my like best feeling boards. But yeah, just the flex pattern with the epoxy and the minimal weight, it definitely opened my eyes up more.
Is there an ideal style of wave that you're looking to ride?
Um, Probably wouldn't think it, but the hollower the actual better. It actually sucks to the rail more. It has more resistant bite on. Where it's because everyone's like, oh, like you love that wave. It's like a real fat, mushy kind of burgery wave. I'm like, oh, it's actually kind of the opposite because you're gonna slide down it kind of thing. You're not stuck in the wall. So yeah, obviously a point break's ideal. Yeah, maybe J-Bo for sure. That's probably the most ideal. 4 to 6 foot or something like that would be perfect.
Yeah, that seems like it.
Mm.
Um, what surf media do you follow nowadays?
Surf Splendor. That's my
Sweet.
yeah. It's actually gonna be quite funny because I listen to you guys and Ain't That Swell on the way to work, so it's gonna be weird hearing my voice. But yeah, you guys, Ain't That Swell, Stab, and the Journal.
Cool. Do you watch WSL events at all?
If it's on and I got time, I will. Yeah, I always try and make time for the J Bay and Pipeline. Um, I some years we go down and see the Mug River one, but it's just too busy. It's actually like a mission to get to the site. It's just you got
Yeah,
to catch buses in and stuff. It's just too hard.
yeah.
But yeah, mainly J Bay and Pipeline.
Um, any surf trips on the books, or what would your ideal trip be? Where do you want to go?
Um, Morocco looks cool. That looks fun. Maybe there or I had this P Pass. Have you heard of P Pass?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be amazing to go there. That looks awesome. Yeah, maybe Morocco or P Pass would be epic.
Would you surf P-Pass on a finless board?
Yeah, absolutely. I reckon that'd be the most best way for it because it's not like obviously at a size it gets real like crazy slabby, but at that like 4 to 6 foot, it looks like a pretty entry than just, down the line kind of thing. Um,
That we got to make this happen. Got to
yeah,
set up a GoFundMe to make this happen.
yeah, I had a look. It's a shame it's in US dollars. It's very expensive from Perth.
Yeah.
Um, but hey, maybe one day.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Final question is just what was the last surfboard that you rode?
It would be a self-shape, 5'8", have an old wind sailboard, a fish style, double 6 ounce, quite heavy, flat, and yeah, it's the probably the main board I ride in all my videos. It actually snapped, and I added a another board to it, so it's a two-part board now. So maybe it's his brother, and it kind of, it's stuck together now. Yeah, and that's
Uh,
it.
Wait, did you lose one of the halves? Why not just put it back together with itself?
I lost it. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know where it went. In the rocks
Gotcha.
somewhere. But yeah, I just it was such a good board, and I was like, oh, I can't let this one go to waste. So I just cut a bit off another board and glued it on, and bang.
How does it work after being fixed?
I think it's kind of better. I don't know if it's got a different flex with two different stringers, but it's on the tail. It's not like heavily stomped on or anything. It's held through the paces. I think it's just better. Every time I add weight to a board, it gets better. It's weird. I've actually experimented with like drilling out little holes or divots and adding more resin and like lightweight sinkers. Um, Actually, I got the idea from Nev Hyman, who famously put a weight in Taj Burrow's board for the Bells Beach Pro when he was riding for Firewire. He said it was too light, and they added some weight up top. So I've kind of added weight along the rail where my feet would grip, and that would be my bite point. And it works. It's just you got to drill a hole in your board.
I mean, they do that in tow boards. They add like lead weights.
Yeah, exactly. It just yeah. Every time, like I said, add weight, it just gets better. I'm sure there's one point where it's too heavy. It's not going to be able to paddle, but yeah, they do that with tow boards, and yeah, and it works.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're doing it strategically, in the right exact part of the board, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's just finding out where the right spot is to put it.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, dude, great getting to know you a little bit. I've admired the Instagram for such a long time and I have no interest. Like I do not aspire to do what you do. It looks so foreign to me, but it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to have, like your own little space, but at the same time, it's been a slow progression because there's been no one like pushing me, if that makes sense. When
Yeah.
you're riding the same thing as the next guy, it's kind of like, oh shit, like he's, throwing spray or he's ripping. So I guess it's been a bit of like a slower progression for me, opposed to if I lived on the east coast of Australia where you see that every single day.
Right. Well, that's the one thing that really appeals to me about it is once you do, I've had this happen a few times in my life where I get on, I have like a 12-foot kind of glider, and all
Yeah.
of a sudden you start looking at the ocean entirely differently. Start seeing waves you never even would have looked at before, and then you're surfing away from the crowds, doing your own thing and having a ton of fun. And I know foilers do that too, or the surf mat, you start doing that too. And so when I've seen what you're riding and where you're riding, and I'm like, I could see the thrill of that. You're obviously on a 10-year journey where you're just on your own program entirely.
Yeah, it's kind of like, your third eye. You've tapped into something that, the other person hasn't quite experienced. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just fun doing something different to everyone else.
Yeah. And like I said, the visuals are really beautiful, just the body positioning and the angles and all of it. So keep it
Oh,
coming.
thanks, mate. Cheers. Thank you.
All right, man. Good to connect with you.
You too, mate. Take it easy. Ciao.
All right.
Surf Splendor.